We should be close to the reveal of Horizon Zero Dawn 2. It has now been more than 3 years since the amazing original, and it's really only a matter of time before Sony starts talking more about the PlayStation 5 and the games that they have planned for the system, since they still want to release the hardware at the end of this year. And well, now we got a major report from Video Game Chronicle talking about how there is a whole trilogy planned for Horizon at Guerrilla Games, and that their release rollout might be completely different from what we normally see. It's all very interesting and exciting stuff, so let's discuss it all in this video and also look at some other recent rumors and news, and I will also answer one of the community questions from the previous Sunday video at the end of this one. So a like on the video would be super appreciated, and let's go. I always like to start with a quick reminder of my current giveaway. Like, if you haven't participated yet, then totally do it by following the link in the pinned comment for a chance to win a 2020 game of your choice on your platform of choice. Good luck, you have to be a subscriber of the channel before you enter, and I will announce the winner in early May. And May should be a very exciting month. I want to likely do my next Sunday video on everything we can expect in the coming weeks, and one of the highlights is very likely going to be a proper PlayStation 5 reveal. No, not comparable to the one we already had with Mark Cerny. No, this one should include some actual games, according to one person with knowledge of Sony's plans who told a VGC. But they then also note that thanks to the Last of Us Part 2 delay, it's unclear whether it will go ahead with its original marketing plans. Everything would have been different if we of course weren't all asked to stay at home, that is for sure, like the Horizon Zero Dawn comic that will tell a story that takes place after the main game was first slated to launch during Comic Book Day on May 2nd, 2020, but has now been delayed till July 22nd. But yeah, the fact remains that Guerrilla Games is hard at work on their next project. And while we first thought that they maybe had 2 separate games in the works, I now would not be surprised if actually both projects were Horizon related. And Video Game Chronicle starts their big report by saying that multiple sources have told VGC that Sony Interactive Entertainment has greenlit ambitious plans for the post-apocalyptic open-world franchise. And that actually Guerrilla Games always desired to deliver a series of Horizon games, and that a multi-part script was already written, but that the plan was only agreed on after the original game's strong debut on PlayStation 4. The game sold 2.6 million units in 2 weeks after the launch, and in February 2019, so 2 years after the release, it was reported that Horizon sold more than 10 million copies. So 1 out of 10 PS4 owners bought this game, and that is huge for a new IP. And that's why it makes sense that they actually first wanted to make the sequel for the PlayStation 4. The next installment, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, started development soon after the first game's successful release. So likely while one team was hard at work on the Frozen Wilds DLC, the other team was already working on the sequel. Initially, the game was planned for PlayStation 4, however, it's thought that the development has now entirely shifted focus to Sony's next generation console. In May 2018, I made this video saying that I thought that a PS4 version for Horizon 2 made a ton of sense. Maybe you remember this. And now it's interesting that, according to this report, this was actually first planned to likely capitalize even more on the now more than 106 million units install base of the PS4. And a regular sequel on the PlayStation 4 would have likely sold 10 million again, but I think that Guerrilla Games got way more ambitious plans now, and Sony already had some big PS4 exclusives to round out the generation. And fingers crossed that Ghost of Tsushima still launches on June 26th. Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is namely set to be gigantic in scope, with a larger game world and more freedom to explore it than its predecessor. And getting the platinum in the original took around 50 hours already, and then you could have skipped some of the side content. Like, the game was a great package, but it was also always hinting at this enormous universe with multiple factions that are trying to survive in this new world. Like, we saw the Osram tribe in their small village, but they also talked about the Claim a lot, their home territory that we could not visit sadly in the main game. But actually, according to Ben McCall, the Horizon lead writer, there was a quest line that had Aloy visit the Osram territory of the Claim at one point, but yeah, they decided to cut it. And this once again shows you that they had many plans. The world was first 50 times larger than what we ended up with in the original, but they had to scale it back. So high chance that a lot of those ideas are now going to be in the sequel. We of course also had the Frozen Wilds DLC that gave us a better look at the Banuk tribe, the shamans and the hunters of this world that use machine parts to build their weird but awesome looking outfits. And yes, we totally learned more about their ways in this expansion, but it still did not take place in Ben-Yur, the key region for this tribe. There were just so many teases in Horizon Zero Dawn for a world that was out there somewhere, and I think this sequel will finally let us explore it for ourselves, and maybe with a friend or 2 or 3. Because that was the big part of this report, the strong focus on co-op. People with knowledge of the game also indicated the inclusion of a co-op feature, although it's not clear if this is delivered via the main story or a separate mode. And maybe you remember the documentary from NoClip regarding the Horizon development, and I will leave a link to it in the video description. There they actually shared very early concept footage of a co-op mode that they first wanted to do. It obviously did not end up in the final release, and the reason they gave is that it would drop the level of detail in the game by half. But yeah, the PlayStation 5 is of course way more powerful than the PS4, and now that they are exclusively making this game for that next gen platform, you would think that this reason is not holding them back anymore, right? It gets even crazier though, because according to this article, it states that at one point Guerrilla was planning to release a standalone co-op game preview with progress carrying over to the later full version of Zero Dawn 2. One person involved told VGC. However, it's not clear if these plans are still in place, and we talked multiple times on this channel about a potential second team inside Guerrilla Games that might be working on a multiplayer game. Like they were looking for a Java developer who would build a robust backend that can scale up to serve many concurrent users, or that would work on systems like matchmaking, tournaments, clans and leaderboards, and also integrate game servers. But one thing that was always interesting about these multiplayer job listings is that it would be for an open world game. Like here we got a network engineer needs to create a robust object replication system that deals with large open worlds. Or this senior game programmer will work on gameplay features of an epic open world game, but a plus would be experience in areas like animation, physics, scripting, multiplayer and UI. So the open world aspect would already eliminate a regular Killzone multiplayer or the rumored so-called multiplayer that some people thought that Guerrilla might be working on, unless they go open world with that. But that would be kinda weird, right? But yeah, if this is for an Horizon multiplayer spin-off, then it kinda makes sense. And again, we are not 100% sure, but I think this multiplayer mode will be an extra thing on top of the regular single-player adventure. It would just be so weird if they created this amazing single-player game with a strong character like Aloy, and then they throw that all away for a multiplayer-only sequel. And really, for every multiplayer job opening, we have like tens of job listings that are more in line with what the regular game was, like senior cinematic producer, senior game writer. So I really think it will just be an extra thing, although again, it's not confirmed yet. I do think that it makes sense though that they want to chase this co-op mode. Co-op is a feature Guerrilla has long intended to introduce to the series, and it's understood that PlayStation was equally keen to see online functionality implanted in the sequel. And I think it's very obvious why Sony wants this as well. For one, they are missing a big multiplayer game in their portfolio. Sure, they just released Predator, but yeah, that's not from one of their big first-party studios. We got these amazing single-player adventures, and we will continue to get them, as Herman already confirmed, but one of the big focuses and moneymakers for Sony right now is PlayStation Plus. And really, if you like and play the big exclusives, then there's no reason to subscribe to that service. But maybe a Horizon co-op mode will make you do that. And that's why I also think that them working on an Horizon co-op instead of like a SOCOM or Killzone makes way more sense. Because you would still not subscribe for SOCOM or Killzone if you like the first party games. But if it was an extension of a single player game that you already liked, then you would likely be more willing to pay for PlayStation Plus. I always thought before the announcement of Horizon Zero Dawn at E3 2015 that the new IP from Guerrilla Games would be a 4-player co-op Monster Hunter type of game. I said esports in the title as well. That was maybe a little too ambitious, but no, this was because of the leaked concept art that shows multiple characters take out these massive machines together. And I think you agree that this looks awesome, right? And what if everyone in your group had a specific role that is required to bring down those already complex machines? The possibilities already excite me. And Naughty Dog showed multiple times that you can have a cool multiplayer that uses systems of the single player adventure while it doesn't take away from that adventure at all. And I think that Guerrilla Games will do something like that as well, instead of making this online-only Destiny type of game. And what if that preview version was available at the launch of the PlayStation 5, like bundled in for everyone to try and to get ready for Horizon Zero Dawn 2, that would not make it at launch, but that would be available a little later. I think that's more realistic than already having the full-fledged sequel ready at the end of this year, also because there will just be a ton of other games launching in the fall as well. But I never thought of a demo or preview version of the game, so they can still showcase the awesome graphics and maybe some of the DualSense capabilities, while you also have the promise of like something big coming later down the line. Guerrilla Games is really gearing up for this Horizon Zero Dawn blowout. Like apart from the comic, they also have the game coming to PC, which will of course be pretty big. So I really hope that before that, we already get a taste of what a next-gen Horizon looks like. And by going to the footage for this video, I also saw that like this PS4 game from 2017 still looks insane. Imagine a next-gen only Horizon. I think we will be blown away by what we see. It's going to be really, really nuts. And at the end of every Sunday video, I want to answer one of your questions that you put in the comments under the recent Sunday video. So if you have a question for the next video, drop it down in the comments down below. And now we got Raul, who said you put out informative and intelligent work. Thanks a lot for that. And also he asked how I came up with the username JorRaptor. And that's very simple. My name is Jordan, so I grabbed like Jor from that. I like dinosaurs, so that's where Raptor came from. And it's also very important when like picking a brand name to think, hey, is someone else already like using this name? And that was not the case for JorRaptor, so I decided to grab that, and now I have Twitter @JorRaptor, Instagram JorRaptor, and also twitch.tv/JorRaptor. Follow me there, of course, if you haven't already. So yeah, and I think it's pretty catchy. Let me know if you agree in the comments down below. Subscribe, of course, when we know more about the next Horizon. I really got more hyped after making this video. Can't wait. Like the video to support the channel. And of course, also check out the previous Sunday video on the next Assassin's Creed. For now though, I will speak to you next time. Have a good one, stay safe, and goodbye.